We have a 9-month-old. It is time for an update because so much has happened since we last spoke. The biggest thing that happened a couple of days ago is that we have a tooth. Just the one, and you can't see it. I can only feel it if she gnaws on my fingers, which she tends to do frequently. And I can feel it like if you were to do that on the top of your tooth, that's what I can feel. She hasn't been obviously teething where they get the really rosy cheeks. She hasn't had that yet, so I'm sure that's gonna come. But she's been really, really dribbly, maybe for like a week or so. And when she was younger, she had it on and off. So I kept thinking, is this it? Is she gonna get teeth? But she didn't. But now we have one coming through. So that is very exciting. And I just hope she isn't uncomfortable with it. I know there's probably gonna be some pain and some uncomfortable situations, but hopefully she sails through it. That's all I can hope, that she sails through it. But that has been our biggest kind of mile marker, I guess. The other thing is that she is mobile. She is so mobile. I think when I spoke to you last, she'd started crawling. She can get everywhere. Oh boy, can she get everywhere. So she's very, very fast. She's very confident crawling. And when I say fast, I can outrun her. So I can always catch her. But she's fast in terms of she was here and now she is over there. She is gone. So we've had to baby-proof everything. So there's stair gates at the top of the stairs, fire guards. We've taken all the low things out of her reach because she can get wherever she wants to. She's very grabby with stuff, especially phones, wires, and laptops, which are the things I really don't want her to grab. So yeah, lots of baby-proofing. She can now pull herself up on things and she can stand there holding on for quite a while. She can adjust her feet when she's standing, but she can't yet pull herself along. So if she was on like a sofa, like pulled up, she couldn't walk along the sofa yet. She'll just kind of stand there. But something she does is that she gets distracted. She looks around and then falls backwards because she doesn't understand her, like how her weight moves, I guess. But she is fast. I think she picks up from other babies really, really quickly because she had never tried to get out of the living room until one of her other baby friends did it the day before, and she saw that, and literally the day after or later that same day, I can't remember, she was out of the living room and she was gone. So I think she's picking up things really, really quickly. But it's really fun. And then sleep, I was watching my 6-month update and laughing to myself because how sleep has changed. The routine has gone out of the window, try as we might. We tried to put her down between about 7 o'clock and 7:30, but some days she'll go down absolutely fine and some days she will not. So our new challenge is to try and tire her out in the daytime. So we'll try and do like a soft play or downstairs in the living room, like a really entertaining couple of hours. And we try to limit her naps. She doesn't need sleep. She's not a sleeping baby. So she will nap in the car, which is really frustrating because you might feel the same, that if she sleeps in the car, it's like a lost nap. So you can't gain that time back. So whenever you do get home, she's very awake and needs a lot of attention, which is lovely. If we can tire her out in the daytime, we're likely to have a better nighttime. And in terms of sleeping through, if she were to go down at 7, it's a big if, but if she were to go down to 7, she'd probably wake up about midnight and then between 2 and 3 and maybe 4 and 5. And then sometimes she's up at 6 or 7-ish. So it depends on the day. If she's slept early and slept well, sometimes she'll wake up at 4. If she hasn't slept very well, she'll wake up at 6 or 7. So it's really hit and miss, and it's really hard to plan because she was going down to bed at 7 o'clock like clockwork, whereas now the last couple of weeks it's been 10 o'clock or midnight. Like she'll just wake up after like a 10-minute nap, 10-minute bedtime, full of energy, ready to go. And she now claps. So she wakes up at 3 in the morning, claps. She can do straight arm claps. I don't know why, but she does this at 3 a.m. in the cot bed, and it's really, really funny. But as soon as she does something like that, I know that she's up. I know that she's not going to want to go back to bed. So it's been hard because we've lost the kind of work time, family time, alone time at like 7 o'clock onwards. We've lost that. So it is now a little bit difficult trying to figure out sleep and work and just stopping. That's a bit of a struggle. But sometimes she'll sleep really, really well, but most of the time it's a bit rocky. Weaning is going well. So she's now on 3 meals a day. She's eating like a beast. It's ridiculous. So where we would usually make her something like eggy bread and she'd have maybe 3 slices, she will now eat the whole, like small slices, small like chunks. She will eat the whole thing and she just doesn't stop, which is really, really good. So I'm really happy that food is going well. But it's so funny that at first it was like, oh, we're going to get her an ice cube out, and she'd maybe eat like a spoonful or like half an ice cube, and that was a really big deal. Whereas now she's having 3 or 4 ice cubes and always wants more. So that is really good. And feeding herself water is going really well. In terms of actually getting food in her mouth, it depends what it is. If it's something like an oat thing or like eggy bread, she'll pick it up and put it in her mouth, but it takes a while. If it's something like cucumber or cucumber stick, she thinks it's a toy. So she'll do this and you'll think it's in her mouth and you think, brilliant, she's had that. And then you look down it and it's just on the floor. So cucumber doesn't go in the mouth, it's a plaything. So we have to really pick and choose what we feed her. But for the most part, she's taking food really, really well. We actually need to weigh her because we haven't weighed her for a while. So we just need to check that her weight is going up as it should do. And because the food is coming in, the food also has to come out. And the poos are intense. They smell so bad. The worst, I don't know if I've told you before, I was breastfeeding her because she'd just woken up and she needed to feed. So I started to feed her. And what I didn't realise was that she'd pooed, because I quite often feed her, then she poos, then I change her. This time she'd already done her poo had just pooed, I'm not sure. And it was just, the smell was just seeping. It was so disgusting. I was almost gagging the whole time. It was the worst. It was so disgusting. But other than that, we haven't had like that situation, but the poos are intense. It's really strange because she now poos every, say, 3 or 4 days rather than every day or multiple times a day. It's so bizarre to go from it being whenever to being every 3 or 4 days. Obviously, she could still poo whenever. It's her choice. She can do what she wants to do. But changing her every 3 or 4 days from a big poo, you sort of have to check in with each other and sort of think, when did you last change a poo? Just to make sure that she's still regular and she's still having a good old time, because we don't want her to be uncomfortable. Not that we could do much about it, but it's just funny that we have to kind of keep on top of the fact that she has pooed more frequently. In terms of breastfeeding, I am still breastfeeding. I'm feeding her far less frequently than I have been, which is great for me because it means that I can actually live my life a little bit more now. So I'm home alone, which is why I have time to film this video, because it has been tough to film one for a while, which is why they've been a little bit sparse, but I filmed lots today, so hopefully you'll have a good few coming up. But every maybe 4 hours now is where I'm at, whereas before it was every 2 hours quite consistently, pretty much like on the minute. Where now, because we're obviously feeding her proper meals 3 times a day, I'll feed her in the morning, and she'll have breakfast, and then I won't have to feed her for a few hours, and then I'll either feed her before or after lunch depending on the day and depending on when she's napping. So it's really nice to have that freedom. In the night time I'm still feeding her every time she wakes up, which maybe I don't need to, but to be honest, when you're that tired and she hasn't been sleeping well, if I know I can breastfeed her and then get her back to bed, I'm 100% going to do it. I'm not going to think, oh no, it's only been 2 hours, I'm not going to feed you. I need my sleep. I am one of these people. I am grumpy if I don't sleep. So yeah, I'm doing the easy wins for me, 100%. Clothing wise, I did not do a 9 to 12 month baby clothes haul like I did previously, just because we've only been adding a few bits here and there rather than going out and buying a whole new outfit, because she hasn't really outgrown anything. She's still very much in her 6 to 9 month stuff. Nothing, there's one thing that kind of shrunk in the wash that she's outgrown, but otherwise nothing is too small for her yet. Some of her 3 to 6 month stuff that arguably were too big to be 3 to 6 months practically still fit her, but she's in that 6 to 9 month clothing. She is very long legged, so she tends to grow out of things with feet first, but we've been buying a lot of stuff from M&S because they tend to be bigger, so they last longer, which is fantastic, because buying something for 3 months just seems ridiculous, especially when you're paying quite a lot for it. We have given up on socks. Socks are the devil. So we tend to dress her in tights and then put something over it like a dress or leggings, because they kind of look like socks, but it's winter, so she needs more layers anyway. So that is really nice. And we'll dress her in like a onesie and a t-shirt or a jumper or a dress, depending on what she's wearing. But practically tights for the win. I'm doing it all of the time because I cannot be bothered with socks. The times that we put her in socks, she just kicks them off and pulls them off and they're gone within 5 seconds. So I can't be bothered with it. So I'm not bothering with it. In terms of activities and playtime, she has now been moved from her babies class to a crawlers class. I'm a bit 50-50 about it, because in the babies class you do a lot of singing, stuff like that. But they don't really move much, but she's far too wiggly for that. So she wasn't enjoying the last few classes that she went to because I kept having to restrain her, whereas in the crawlers class, she can go and do whatever she wants to. But some of the baby classes aren't as good for her now, even though she's moved up to an appropriate level class, whereas other classes that cover a bigger range from, say, 6 months to 18 months are much more fun. There's so much stimulation and toys and music and singing and stuff like that. So I think for us, we're just picking and choosing the right classes. So I would rather take her to a class that is very interactive so that I can not have to be in charge of the class or of the activity. Whereas if I take her to a class that's more like soft play, I still have to do all the imaginative stuff, which I love doing, but not all the time. I need a break. Whereas we now take her to soft play, and we play and we run. Well, I run and we do all these things. So that is really nice to be able to actually take her to somewhere like that we can just do on our own time, not have to be there for a particular time, so it doesn't matter if we're late. But it has surprised me that some of the baby classes, despite the fact that they're appropriate for her age, they're not as engaging as I would hope they would be. So I think for us, we just need to pick the right one. So I am going to try and cancel one. Swimming is going well. We're still carrying on with that. That's like the one class that we keep going because we know we're going to be on the water quite a lot. So that was really important to us that she was happy swimming. She started to kick her legs a little bit. I don't think she realizes that she's doing it, so I think that just happens, and she'll start to like reach for something. If you have a toy for her in the water, she'll reach for it, which is really, really good. So it's just nice that she's getting a little bit more confident in the water. And when it comes to bath time, we've now taken away her bath seat that she had when she was a baby. She could probably still fit into it because her torso is not as long as her legs, so she could probably still fit into it. But since she's been sitting up, it's just been more hassle to try and keep her in it because she just wants to crawl everywhere. So we've taken that away. So she just sits up now. And the first few bars, I really had to keep an eye on her because it's so slidey. She'll just go. If she wriggles, she kind of forgets that she's keeping herself up there. So we have to be on it. And like I usually have like one arm around her while I'm splooshing her. But bath times are definitely much more fun now. And the thing that's really, really exciting is that she wants to play more, and she laughs all of the time. She laughs so much. If we in particular play Boo, she doesn't like peekaboo, but specifically Boo, she likes being scared. So if she's not expecting it and you jump around the corner and shout Boo, she will jump, take a second, then laugh. And then if you do it like 3 times in a row, the laugh gets louder and louder and louder, and it's so funny. And if she's on all fours crawling and then you're the opposite side of the room and you run and crawl to her, she finds that hilarious. So it's really lovely to be able to have that interaction and find things that make her laugh and consistently make her laugh and just like laugh with her whole body. And it's really funny. It's just so lovely. And if you're on like the phone with someone and they can hear her laugh, it just makes them laugh as well. So it's just such a lovely time. So there have been so many changes since I last did a little update for you, and I'm sure when I do the next update at 1, it will be insane because you'll probably be walking by then, and I can't imagine what life's going to be like when we have a walker, but I'm looking forward to finding out.